How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you my episode review and recap of, well, actually more of episode review for Disney Marvel's Hawkeye. They put out episodes 1 and 2 on Wednesday, the eve of Thanksgiving, and I am coming to you. Technically, it's after midnight, but it's on Thanksgiving, still Thanksgiving on the West Coast. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I'm thankful for each and every last one of you guys who listen to me. And you know what? Pardon me, I'd be even more thankful if you hit me up with a like, a comment, and a subscribe. Hey. So, some of you are probably going, why does Hawkeye get a show? I'm going to be, look, don't be hating on Hawkeye. Literally, Hawkeye is probably my favorite Avenger. And I'm not even talking about the MCU. Like, you take out Spider-Man and, you take out Wolverine, Hawkeye. Hawkeye is definitely my favorite Avenger. I love characters that not only are street level, which he can do street level any day, but this guy is peak human condition. He has to practice, he has to work out. He doesn't have a special ability. He's what you think of when you think of like a superhero. It's kind of funny that people love Batman, but you can't like Hawkeye. They're almost the same person, except, one is not afraid to love. The other one isn't super broody, unless you count the MCU Hawkeye. And one is just isn't rich. And actually, Hawkeye is a villain turned hero, if you guys probably didn't know about that. But let's talk about this show, right? Starring Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld also does voiceover work for Vi and Arcane, which I promised to give you guys, but as you notice, I got some different type of mood lighting in here, right? Well, I'm having some lighting issues that I have to take care of, and it is the holiday, so you're going to be getting me doing some special type of lighting, and actually, I kind of like the feel of this. Don't you like the feel of this? It's a little bit more personal. Anyway, what can I say? The first episode, I actually don't remember the name of the first episode. Episode 2 was called Hide and Seek, and if I took 2 minutes to roll through my notes, because I don't know why I like to take notes for these things, even if I'm not going to go part by part and tell you what's going on and tell you what's going on like I do with my anime stuff. I do like to. Oh, it's called Never Meet Your Heroes. That's actually really good. But I do like to remember. It helps me remember what goes on. So, fans recaps. We have, and I guess with the recap, it's really interesting because the way they joined this with the MCU was brilliant. We have a 5 or 6-year-old Kate Bishop. Her family's wealthy. She was a kid during the Battle of New York in 2012, and she saw Hawkeye. You guys remember that moment where Hawkeye didn't even look, hit the thing, and it crashed? He saved her. He doesn't realize it, but he saved her. And the moment when he swung down and went into that building, she saw all of that. Unfortunately, she lost her father. I almost thought it looked like her parents were going to get a divorce, but I think they were just having some money issues, which makes a lot of sense. But the one thing she wants to do to protect her family, she told her mom, "You got to get me a bow." And the intro sequence is amazing because we see her practicing her arrows and everything. We see her doing her fencing, her martial arts. This is literally the making of a hero. She is a bit rambunctious. And present day is 2 years after Endgame. She's 22. Kind of makes me feel old, but she's 22. She's decent with the bow and arrow, but she causes issues at school. She destroys a bell/clock tower. She comes from money. But here's the thing about Eleanor, and I meant to look this up, and you know what, guys? I'm going to look this up live. I'm trying to remember if Eleanor Bishop was a big player, because this show is heavily based on Matt Fraction's Hawkeye series. All the purple and light purple and the arrows and everything. Hands down. If not the best, one of the best Hawkeye stories. I kind of feel bad for telling people to pick it up if you haven't read it before, because after this, everyone's gonna want those issues, and I wouldn't be surprised if other excuse me, other comic book stores would just hike up the price. I'm pretty sure the trade paperback is out. Definitely get it. It introduces the pizza dog to grills. It shows the great dynamic between Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. The art is completely different. It looks like a nice comic, but it does have its very dynamic moments as well. Um, Marvel. So our flip side here, hmm, on our flip side here, we have Hawkeye who his he's spending more time with his kids while the wife is at home, and haha, I did know that. Okay, so I had to double check my facts, but I'll get back to you guys in a second. We have Hawkeye who's with his family, his children, Koopa, I think is Lisa. I thought the last kid's name was Pietro, but I think his first name is something different. And they're watching literally a theatrical musical about the Battle of New York. And his kids are technically enjoying it, but we also find out he has a hearing aid. Hawkeye has been banged up so much over the years. He has a hearing issue, and it's not necessarily accurate. I can't remember if that was in the Matt Fraction comic books. Because my Hawkeye that I'm used to. Hawkeye was going blind for a very long time in the comic books. To the point we have a nice little touching story between him and Spider-Man, where Spider-Man made him think that he had hit the villain. But from that moment out, even though Hawkeye was going partially blind and then fully blind, but then he got his eyesight back, he was hitting the mark every single time. But in this instance, he's taking so much damage he can't. He needs a hearing aid, and you can see, and I love the interaction he has with his daughter, because his daughter is like, we miss Aunt Nat too. He misses Mrs. Natasha something fierce. And funny thing is, if you've seen Black Widow, we know that Yelena Belova is coming after him. We know that somebody has eyes on him now. That kind of makes you think, who has this group together? Because we have a character at the end of the second episode that shows up. So I'm gonna go character by characters for a moment. But the feel of this, someone had mentioned before. Another YouTuber said it felt like a Netflix show, the Netflix Marvel show, which isn't a bad thing. You think about Daredevil and Punisher, Luke Cage. Not big fans of Jessica Jones, but those shows were really, really, really good, and they felt really, really good. I can see where they're coming from, but it just feels like a nice high end television show. It's Christmas time. Currently in first episode 6 days, and then the second episode is 5 days till Christmas. Pardon me, we're only getting 6 episodes of this, so I'm hoping Clint makes it home for Christmas. Who knows? But why does he have to make it home for Christmas? Well, overall, some black market dealings are going on. The Ronin suit got out there, which he had to recover, and he has to deal with things, because now Kate Bishop has gotten herself involved, and Kate Bishop is very, very good, very, very good. But first of all, music is great. They paid for amazing Christmas songs like "Most Wonderful Time of the Year." They put money into this. Um, I wish I could remember, and actually, I'll pull it up live for you guys, because I'm not going to edit this. The director for Hawkeye was supposed to be a feature movie, and she was going to base it on, my bad. She's, oh, I'm sorry. Thought it was a she. I think the head writer might be a she, but they were going to base the series on the Matt Fraction comic, much like the show is. But they have so much detail that they need to put in it. The relationship budding, the reluctant hero with the budding hero. That when the show things start to get greenlit, this was the show that they pushed forward to say, we want to make this a show instead of a movie. Personally, I'd rather Hawkeye have been a movie a long time ago. Actually, him and Black, as Look, I'm not a big Black Widow fan because I didn't really care for her in the comics. I love her in What If, but if you're gonna do a movie with Hawkeye and Black Widow, I personally would have did a Shield movie. Nick Fury, Hawkeye, Black Widow, show their dealings and what they went through, show why they're so tight, show why their bonds are unbreakable, and then you get into the Civil Wars with everything breaking down. But it is what it is. um, but I love how really they do the callbacks to the MCU much better than other shows. This it's like Loki level. It's very much like Loki level of callbacks, where thinking about the stuff that's happened in movies actually does matter when Hawkeye thinks about the past, or when Kate Bishop thinks about the past, or just the people around them in general. Uh, Hawkeye, they go to a Chinese restaurant. They order tons of food. He's ready to pay. It's on the house because you saved us. You saved our lives. He's having issues with dealing with the fact that I think he has not only survivor's guilt, he he's a he's more or less a reluctant hero. Even Kate, analyzed him, says, you're the type of guy who you can wear, you guard yourself, and somewhere underneath your sleeve is your heart, but you're low key. But with everything that has happened since the Avengers have shown up, people want heroes that stand out, like Ant-Man, your Iron Mans, things like that. And she kept trying to tell him, you are still inspirational to people. He still doesn't realize that she was inspired by him. So let's go through Hawkeye and his family. His wife continues to be MVP, best wife in the MCU, best partner in the MCU, period, because she's not like, oh man, I'm mad at you because you're not going to make it. She used to be an agent, which this is heavily based off of the Ultimate Comics, where Hawkeye had a wife and a family that Black Widow actually ended up killing all of them. Um, so she's understanding of what he has to go through. His kids are understanding. Just his daughter, she wants her father to be home for Christmas, and he's gonna try to keep that promise. Um, very, very great children. His kids are not annoying, and that is a rarity in television. Not just comic book shows, but shows in general. And I won't go far with sitcoms, but with shows, kids are usually a folly. You know, they make tons of mistakes and they get annoying. Now, that's kind of the role has fallen on to Kate Bishop, but she's trying to be a hero. It's gonna happen. Let's talk about Clint. You know, Clint misses Natasha. It's gonna suck whenever he has to face Yelena, and I hope Yelena has a cool enough head that she doesn't try to kill him right away. But he is smooth. Like the dude is teaching Kate how to properly dress your wounds. She's picking up kind of his tips because he's always looking around, making sure no one's following him. And when he has to go to a LARPing convention, first of all, I don't know why you're having a LARPing convention, LARPing battle in New York City in December in the snow. Sure, but he's able, even though he's fake fighting. As they say, so this is the character you're playing. This is your main rules. He has to sign up for this, mind you. Uh, they say, yeah, you hit him in the torso, people are automatically dead. He's like, all right, cool. He killed like he killed like 7 people who were all attacking him at once. You don't really see. You don't even do that when he's actually fighting aliens. In shows and movies where they fight you one at a time, so it can, that's not really how it happens. But in this LARP thing, he's able to get all these people out. He's very direct and to the point. He still has the moves. Like this, as much as I wish this show was just all about him, because it is half, well, if it's not 50-50 of both Hawkeyes, it's like 60-40 leaning towards Kate. And I was want to get to Kate. But, he's reluctant to even want to teach or anything. He realizes he's being mean, but I think he's being mean just because he doesn't want to get someone else killed. He more than likely blames himself for Natasha being killed. I'm calling it right now. Um, He does have a good moment with Pizza Dog. Pizza Dog is cute. One-eyed dog that only eats pizza. And just when Clint gets captured by the tracksuit mafia, and we'll get to those goofballs in a minute, dude's able to just get out. Of course, before Kate bungled everything, he he wears his guilt on his shoulders because he knows that he's made tons of enemies as Ronin. Very, very comic like as he was Ronin in the comics. And he's ready to, I guess, try to fix whatever problem this is. I'm still curious as if he knows who's actually working with the tracksuit mafia. We'll get to that in a minute. Excuse me. Kay Bishop. And we'll talk about her with Eleanor and Jack. Can't say his name, but Jack is Swordsman. Swordsman is one of the most DCEF tier level villains ever. His name's Swordsman because he uses swords and he's really good with them. There you go. Funny enough, because I thought I knew this before, Eleanor Bishop in the comic books is technically part of the Masters of Evil in the West Coast. Yeah, so she's technically a villain, and apparently she was a vampire at one point in time. But is she a villain in this show? They're doing a good job of playing her up as a former widow who's going to get hopscotch married to a man who technically she has more money than she does. She has more money than he does because his uncle Armand the Third, who is played by the gentleman who plays the villain in Ace Ventura Pet Detective. No, I'm sorry, Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. Picked up on that. I loved that movie as a kid. Um, they're doing some shady stuff. There was a black market deal where they're selling a Triceratops skull. They were selling Ronin's collapsible blade. They also got some tech and things from the fallen, not the fallen Stark Tower, but the fallen Avengers compound from Endgame. A lot of shady stuff going on, and Swordsman did end up taking that sword towards the end, just like Kate ended up stealing the Ronin outfit to stop the tracksuit mafia. Kate just she wants to be a hero. You know she wants to be a hero. Her mother wants her to work at the Bishop Security Company. That's where they get their money. That's how she was actually able to find Hawkeye at the tracksuit mafia's lair. She's smart and she's resourceful, very resourceful. I'm hoping that we don't get a cliche moment of Clint pushes her so far away that she says, "Screw it, I'll do it myself," and he has to save her. We don't need that. By episode 4, there's only 6 episodes, guy. Come on, episode 4, have them talk it out and just say, "I don't want to get anybody else killed." There you go. We can subvert expectations by just doing the reverse of that thing. She is good with bow and arrow. She is very funny. Like Clint is the stone face, but his comedy is very how do I express this? He has really good comebacks. Someone will say a thing, she'll say a thing, he'll zing it, or if he starts with the zinger, it's very, very dry wit, very dry humor. She's very funny as well. So I'm liking these two as a duo. I'm kind of sad that I don't know wherever they take this show. I don't know if this is gonna get a second season, which is kind of sad for me. Let's talk. I already talked about Swordsman. Let's talk about the villain at the end of episode 2. Villain, I say, who's working with the Tracksuit Mafia. Matter of fact, I'll set her up. We're talking about Tracksuit Mafia. They're straight out Matt Fraction's, Hawkeye book. Hilarious. Bro, what, bro? They're a Russian mafia gang that all wear tracksuit, which I was like, hey, say, that's a little bit on the nose, but they are one of the people who apparently Ronan has made enemies of during that time when half of the population of the universe was gone. Which I find it interesting that I believe that Mrs. Hawkeye, that Laura, I think she actually knows that her husband ran around as a vigilante killing everybody because he was sad that his family was dead. That's a really good couple right there. because she seems to know what's going on or what he's shouldering. But regardless, they're just like the comics. Bro, actually, and I didn't talk about Grills. Neighbor Grills has been race bent. He was a white guy who wore glasses that was a neighbor in the book, but now he's the black fireman, emergency worker who LARPs, who him and Clint shared. They exchanged names, which he thought was really cool that Clint let him call him Clint, and Clint offered the bro fist first. It's great. Um, but yes, at the end of the episode two, we see who I'm 99.9% sure is Echo. Who is Echo? Echo technically started off as a villain. She was working with Kingpin. She's doing some side work with Bullseye, but she turns over to the good side. She is deaf. Pardon me. She's deaf. She's also Asian. So we got two boxes to tick. Don't act like they're not ticking boxes. They are. But she's organically like that in the comics, and she's a really fascinating character. She's technically the second Ronin because Clint was the first one. She took over as Ronin. Another cool thing that is setting up for this: Clint's son knows sign language, and he knows sign language as well. Echo is deaf, and Echo has a lot of dealings and workings with Daredevil, which is funny. He's blind, she's deaf, haha. But they're gonna be able to communicate. She can also she's able to hear and feel sound. So when we first see her, she's touching like a stereo. She probably already knew Clint and Kate were already there, captured captured by the tracksuit mafia before the guy even came in. Which I don't know why you think talking to a deaf person louder gonna let them hear you, but whatever. They're idiots. Um, but this is leading a lot of people to think that Kingpin is the true big bad, which, if he is, awesome. I don't see. Actually, I can see how, because you have Swordsman, who's now graduated to a, just like Batroc, Swordsman and Batroc, D level villains are now major players in the MCU. I can see Kingpin being behind some of the rumblings. I can see Kingpin could have been the one who rose up in the middle of all that was going on before everyone came back in Endgame. I can see him having filled that void, or maybe he's trying to get back the piece of the pie that he had before. Personally, I'm happy to see Echo. I am hoping that they allow Echo to become a hero because she's a big part of the Avengers. She's a big part of Daredevil's story. It would be very nice, actually, if we get more sprinkles of people who we have but have not seen in the MCU. I would love for Daredevil to just come by and just say, keep your noses clean. And him and Clint have a brood off because, they're both brooding heroes. I would really, really enjoy that. Also, something tells me Clint might actually have some dealings with Echo because he said, I want to talk to your real boss. I don't know who. There's a tracksuit mafia guy who's not wearing a tracksuit necessarily. He's wearing a coat. He has this fat face. He has a fat face to me. Don't know who this guy is. I'll probably look into it for episode 3, but so far so good. I'm really enjoying this show. Like Echo's theme playing on the outro because they did not have an intro for episode 2. Because ha ha ha, I love how episode 1 ended with Clint having to save Kate, who's in the Ronin outfit, from the tracksuit mafia. And he's getting ready to punch her and sees it as a girl, and he's like, come on, because he's not going to hit a kid. Well, she's 22, but when he thought she was 18, he said 18, 22 is the same thing. He's like, what, 40? It's the same thing for him. All in all, these first 2 episodes, with my bias, get a 4 out of 5. I thought I was going to say 5, didn't you? That's I want to give episode 1 a 5 and episode 2 a 4, because that's a really good way of tying everything together. Some of the things that I do want to highlight. One moment, I guess Kate thought that Clint was like stealing a pamphlet or something. He's like, no, I'm turning my hearing aid up because even though I don't want to hear you, I need to hear you. When she says, how did you get that? We get flashback of crashing through the window in Avengers 1, getting shot in the chest at the Hydra compound in Age of Ultron, and having a building fall on him in Avengers Endgame. He's like, honestly, it all runs together. Doesn't know how he got hurt, but he stays hurt, and that's one of the best things about these type of heroes. The damage ramps up. You guys love Daredevil seasons, all of them, right? I remember in season 1 thinking to myself, man, before he met not Night Nurse Rosario Dawson, he was getting beat up constantly and still having to fight like that. It's the same deal with this, except Clint knows how to clean them up. They even got supplies and everything. I'm just hoping that it's only 6 episodes. I'm hoping by next episode we get more cohesion with the Hawkeyes, not her, messing things up and falling in and getting them even more captured. I like the fact that she knows how to use her mom's company's things. That's 2 thumbs up there. Also, her mom's fiance, Swordsman, his uncle got killed, which looked like he got killed with the sword. Kate is worried because Kate's kind of tangled into it. People saw a hooded figure that they believe is Ronan leaving out of there. They saw Ronan save Pizza Dog, right? So they're wondering if Ronan killed Edmund III. Pretty sure it's Swordsman because they had a nice fencing fight. And Kate was calling him out saying, "You're holding back, stop letting me win." And when she goes to hit him in the face without him looking, he deflects it and makes her blade spin on the ground, her fencing blade. And he also had the hard candy that was anagrammed from Armand's place. She's very smart and very attentive. I appreciate a young hero like that. Bravo for you as well, Marvel. I don't know if I can I'll give you credit too, Kevin Feige. Marvel, bravo for you guys for being able to take D-list villains as Swordsman and Batroc and turn them into the center of storms. But all in all, if Swordsman actually didn't kill Amon III, I'm gonna be very surprised. But I'm pretty sure it's him, even though he seems very nonchalant about it as well, saying that he probably didn't do it. But I think he did. And I think Kate Mom knows about it. I think she's a bad guy. But it's okay, because if she goes to jail, Kate gets all her money. Hey, it all works out. Maybe Kate Bishop will be the Iron Man for the Young Avengers. She has the money, and no one else does. So, let me know what you thought of the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Don't Never Meet Your Heroes and Hide and Seek. It's pretty sad about that Never Meet Your Heroes part, even though that was technically only shown in the 2nd episode because he's super, super grouchy. Poor Clint. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new here. Hit the notification bell if you aren't new here so you can get notified of videos like this. I'm going to try to be more on time with my Hawkeye videos because Hawkeye is my Hawk guy. That sounded really dumb. As always, share the video so other people can see what a great time we're having. I bet you guys thought that this review would be like 100 minutes long. Ha ha ha, nah, under 30 minutes. So, as always, thank you for showing up. I always tell you guys I appreciate you spending some time with me. I sincerely mean that. I hope you had a good holiday. If you're going out tomorrow, please be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear your mask, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk, but just be safe. Don't knock someone down. Don't trample a kid. Don't fight an old woman. You can always get the TV on Monday. So, as always, I will definitely see you next time.